Today on XDA, I'm going to show you a process, or at least one of the ways to be able to back up your phone if you decided to root your phone and want to install a new ROM. What are the steps that you need to do to be able to get a successful transfer of your information and applications from one ROM to the other? Let's check it out. First application we're going to be using here is ROM Manager. This is the free version. There is a premium version of it if you want to upgrade to the premium version. This will be used in interface with the custom recovery that we have installed on the phone. So if I have a TeamWin recovery installed, I will be using their interface. But since I'm using Clockwork Mod as a recovery on my phone, I'll go ahead and use ROM Manager. For Titanium Backup, this is by far the #1 root backup application on the market. Again, I'm using the free version of it. There is a premium version of it that you can upgrade to if you choose to. And for my backup, I'm using the root version of the application. You can actually go a little bit further here. You'll notice there's a pro version and then there's a My Backup. The My Backup, I think, is basically a 30-day free version of the My Backup Pro ad supported. But again, for the root version, you just get all the root application functionality. Again, you get some screenshots here, as well as here when you go into Titanium Backup and ROM Manager as well. All three have walkthroughs on how to use. Overall, let's check it out on the phone. So the main three applications that you want to look at when you're trying to back up your ROM is you have your ROM Manager. Now this is based only because I have a Clockwork Mod recovery installed on the phone. If I was using a TeamWin, I would be using their interface. Titanium Backup, this is a root application, and you also have My Backup. There's two different applications. They both do the same thing essentially. Again, this is intended to show you how you can go from one ROM to the other on a root device. So there is a free version of the My Backup that will back up your information if you're non-rooted. You're more than welcome to use that application. Essentially, it will do the exact same thing except for root privileges, which it requires obviously to be able to do certain either market links or so on, like Titanium Backup will do. So first thing first, we'll go ahead and open up the ROM Manager. This is going to be your #1 thing to do before you do anything else on the phone. Now obviously if you've rooted your phone, you've installed a custom recovery, this will be the first thing you want to do. You want to go in there and say back up my current ROM, and name it and give it a special name, and then go ahead and back it up. It will reboot the phone into recovery. Once you reboot into that recovery, you'll be able to access the phone, and then it'll create an Android backup for you, and it'll post that onto your SD card, or depending on the storage capability of your phone or your internal storage. So once we have done that portion of the phone, that backs up your phone to the current state. So it doesn't have the ability to restore portions of it. Well, actually, there is ways of restoring portions of those backups, but unfortunately, it's more tedious than beneficial. The easy way would be to do a backup in case something happens, and then just back up what you want to back up. We can go ahead and launch Titanium Backup. By default, again, this is a root application, so if you don't have root on your phone, you don't have custom recovery, all of this obviously gets negated. But we'll open up the backup and restore. There's a list, or a long list, of all your applications, system apps, and all of those things are listed in here. So you can notice here you have your Bluetooth option here, which is one of those things that you get. We go into the tasking option here, where you have the multiple options. You have verify backups, restore, and going through the application at the end. The one you'd want to basically do is back up all user apps, system apps, and this will restore everything or part of it once you want to restore it. But once you run this application itself here, it takes you into the next page listing of all the things that it wants to back up. Now this is a clean, fresh, or pretty clean installation of a ROM on my phone. This is running Jelly Bean, I think, of 4.2 actually. So overall, not that many things to go. So I can either keep this selected all and then just let it back up, or I can deselect the certain things that I don't want it to back up. An example would be the Bluetooth. That's something that if I jump into a different ROM, it's going to already be installed. There's no reason for me to back these up, and it'll just bloat up the file once it's done. For this example, I'm just going to go ahead and keep it up, and then you just say select all, and then it'll start, and then you set check mark right there, and it'll start the backup for you. The benefit of this is once you're restoring, when you go back to restore the applications, it does the same thing. It will give you that same list, and it'll tell you what do you want to restore, on top of the fact that it wants to restore everything else. So that's the beauty of it. It will restore portions of your backup, and only those things that you want to restore, and it will keep the backup for future reference in case you want to restore it later. And then when you're done reinstalling your new ROM, just download Titanium Backup, and then you're basically just ready to go. Now, My Backup Pro is a little different. It doesn't do the same level of backup information as Titanium Backup will do. but it does it in a different way because it splits basically the backups into two different areas: applications and media, and data. Applications and media are obviously your application and your music and your pictures and so on. Data is where your contacts and your phone. So in this example, I'm just going to store it locally. It gives me the ability of, you know, backing up my contacts, you know, call log, bookmarks, SMS, MMS, all of those, the alarms, calendar, music playlists, and your access points. All of those are under data. And if I want to back up my applications, again, I'll use local storage. It does the same thing. It gives you the option where it is. You can hit the drop down. You can go through here, and it gives you access to what you want to back up, and then go from there. The restore and backup functions under the root version are pretty similar to the way Titanium Backup works. When you're restoring, you're able to select what you want to restore. It's a two-step process as opposed to a one-step process. I find this a little simpler to look at as far as understanding how to use it right out the box. When you open it, you know you go to backup, restore to restore, managing is where to manage, scheduling. It's simple. Titanium Backup, not exactly the most you know, user-friendly, out-of-the-box kind of an interface. I would say just, you know, when you first get it, you automatically go to backup, but then you don't know really that you need to go here to be able to back up everything that you need. So it's by default kind of not as simple, but it definitely very powerful application. Again, both Titanium Backup and My Backup Pro will allow you to do partial restores, and ROM Manager will back up your phone. And you always want to start with an Android backup, or you know, again, with a TeamWin backup if you have a TeamWin recovery on your phone, before you do anything. Because if all else fails, you jump into recovery and do a restore, and it will restore your phone to this point in time prior to doing anything here. Installing new ROMs is one of the main benefits of rooting your phone. Being able to try new operating systems on your phone, new different versions of the operating systems, is also one of the main benefits. Also, getting the latest and greatest if you want to either install CyanogenMod or you want to be able to install any AOKP type of a ROM. It's definitely something that you want to experience if you've rooted your phone and you want to get the full potential of the hardware that you have. So transferring your application, your contacts, your messages, your MMS, all of those things sometimes can become cumbersome because you're thinking, I just installed a new ROM and all I have to do is reinstall everything. So I'm showing you two different options. Titanium Backup is the number one, obviously, applications on the Google Play Store. You know, if you want to install a new ROM, you're definitely going to already have root. So unfortunately, Titanium Backup is not an option for non-root users. And you know, My Backup Pro, I'm using the root version of it again. Again, it requires some of those benefits to be able to do the backups for you. Installing a special recovery on your phone will always be required to be able to do anything as far as even rooting your phone. So either a TeamWin recovery or Clockwork Monk recovery will definitely be needed. Check it out. Let me know what you think. This new type of new series is intended to basically help you understand at least the processes of transferring from one ROM to the other. Now, again, I didn't go through installing the new ROM because any ROM that you go through or any thread that you go through to download the ROM will give you the step-by-step instructions on how to install it, what additional files you need, as far as, you know, radios or even, you know, kernels, or depending on what the ROM requirements are. So please check it out. Let me know what you think, and also any ideas for future video tutorials. Thank you, and I'll see you next week.